Hello, I'm Khenmo Drolma, and I'd like to talk to you and guide you through the very wonderful Tara practice that comes from our founder, Lord Jigten Sumgon. Lord Jigten Sumgon lived in the 1100s, and that was a time when leprosy was very prevalent, and people did not know how or why it occurred. And so there was a great fear of disease. And at that time, Lord Jigten Sumgon contracted leprosy. And it said that when he was near death, when he could barely lift his head to even drink from a bowl, and when no one would help him because of their fear of the disease, he went into retreat and thought, this is the time of my death, and set up a shrine and began a practice of compassion and loving kindness. And his heart broke open to include the vast suffering of all the beings at that time. Now, in the Tibetan stories of healing, sometimes there's a physical cure and sometimes there's no physical cure. In this case, there was a physical cure, and he said he was looking from his cave at this vast valley, and he saw the disease leave him like a huge snake, somewhere in between a dragon and a snake, and lumber off across the valley. The key to understanding, though, is the wide open heart. So all of the Buddhist practice leads you to this wide open heart and to thinking of others so strongly that there's no longer a self and no longer an other, and you are just in the beingness of wisdom and compassion. So during this period, he also had a vision of Tara and composed a beautiful Tara poem. It's called The Seven Taras. And during this period, he also developed this beautiful Tara meditation, which is designed particularly for epidemics. And it said that he taught loving kindness so profoundly during his life that many, many lepers came to him, and he became known as the Lama who dreamed away leprosy. Many, many people experienced freedom from disease. So this Tara practice is just one paragraph. It is very essential and very simple, but as is the case of all of our practices, if we actually understand this practice, then it has everything in it for complete liberation of the heart-mind. So I'm going to go through the practice in a few different ways. First, looking at some of the terminology that you may not be familiar with. Then leading you through the practice in the different stages. And finally, a sense of how you can work with this practice in terms of its ultimate fruition. So we'll begin the practice just by sitting calmly. I'm going to put on the screen the practice of Tara, beginning with a picture of Tara. So this is Tara. You'll see that she's blue-green in color, and you'll see that her right foot is coming forward. So Tara is considered the female Buddha of the activity of compassion, and she has her foot extended so that she's leaping off her cushion to help whoever needs help to swiftly go to whatever situation where she's being called. And then in her left hand, she holds a blue Aptala flower, a very rare flower. And in many of her versions, Kuan Yin or Canon, she's holding medicine. So if you see her right hand with the palm forward, this is the giving blessings mudra. Often in other cultures, she's holding a vase that's pouring out medicine. And her color is important. Her color signifies activity. The element is the wind associated with that color, but it's also the color that is medicinal. So blue-green, when you think of the color of peacocks, that's an animal that eats poison, and the poison causes the beautiful colors to appear in the peacock feathers. So the more you investigate even her photograph, the more it's a teaching. It's not like an individual artistic creation. It's more like a visual book about the Dharma path. So as you encounter this practice, you'll see a couple of words that are English words that have no definition. They've been adapted to our culture. And the first word is bodhicitta that you might encounter. Bodhicitta is something that we don't have an English equivalent. It's, in a relative way, it's compassion and loving kindness. So it is the wide open heart. And in its ultimate definition, it's kindness and compassion mixed with no self, no other. So it indicates wisdom. And then we're invited to visualize ourselves as something called a yidam. So a yidam deity is our perfected self. So there's a sense of, as we are walking the path towards Buddhahood, all our prayers, all our aspirations, all of our motivation to help others eventually results in the form of a Buddha. And our mind becomes that ultimate wisdom and compassion. And we visualize ourselves as that perfected form. So we start to identify with the perfected form instead of our current limited self. So right now you can visualize yourself as Tara, or if there is a particular Buddha that you work with or a particular religious ideal, visualize that. At the center of our hearts is the Bhagavati Jetsun Tara. So a couple of extra words. Bhagavati is that concept of someone who's accomplished the great wisdom and compassion with the quality of womb-like nature. So there's sense of the spaciousness for everything to arise, and it has the quality of the feminine wombness. And Jetsun is the great wise teacher, and then Tara, the Buddha of compassion and activity. The protect us from the fear of disease, the size of your hand inside your heart. So you are visualizing yourself as a perfected Tara with Tara inside your heart. And you're giving rise to bodhicitta, first to the degree that you are able, that wonderful loving kindness and compassion. And that is the field that you're sitting in. And from that perspective, you then visualize the Tara at your heart, filling your body with green mist. Now, the essence of that mist is also bodhicitta. So you see that as a healing medicine going to every part of your body. Any place there's an ache or a pain, any place that you're feeling a little ill, you can visualize it filling you like a vase from the bottom to the top. You can visualize it emanating like sunlight, filling every part at once. That's up to your imagination, no problem. So at a certain point, you experience the fullness, and it's not just green light, it's bodhicitta. So it's the bodhicitta as green light. And with an abundance and overflowing, then you visualize it moving from your body through every conceivable opening, all the pores on your skin, your mouth, your nose, your eyes, And this is a wonderful quality of the practice because there's a sense of radiating green light, but also a sense of everything that we think of a boundary all of a sudden becoming permeable because light is leaving through the pores of our skin. And it says that that light pervades the boundless palace. And in this case, the palace means the room you're sitting in. So when you visualized yourself as the Yidam, no longer are you ordinary, but also your circumstances are not ordinary. So you're seeing the perfection of the shelter that you're residing in. And you're also seeing perhaps your family or your neighborhood. So that sense of letting it fill what you consider me or mine, expanding to my home, my family, my tribe, my country. And then eventually, all the regions you have in mind. So with a very relaxed quality, anywhere you're hearing cries of pain, it can be in far parts of the world. It can be in cities that are in turmoil. Wherever you imagine pain and necessary healing, that is where the light goes. You can imagine hospitals that are overwhelmed, the doctors and the nurses. You can imagine the people who have no one to take care of them. You're just feeling and filling to the capacity of your imagination, and then allowing your imagination to increase. So you sit with that as long as you are able, and then you prepare to leave the meditation into your ordinary life. So how do you carry this? And in this visualization, you imagine a Tara in front of each nostril. You still have the Tara inside your heart. And so because this meditation is to lessen the fear of epidemics and prevent illness, everything you breathe in is coming through the Tara that's in front of your nostril and going into the Tara at your heart. And in the same way, it's moving from your body, the Tara at your heart, through each of the Taras into the world. It is said that by the blessing of this visualization, one will not be affected by epidemic disease. So we understand this meditation at many different levels. At first, you can think about it healing your own fear, really seeing your body totally healthy and expanding that, expanding your capacity to feel for others. And then as you move through the world, it becomes like your spiritual safety mask. So you're seeing everything coming from you, passing through Tara and becoming the healing light. And everything that comes from the outside world comes through the Tara into your heart as healing light. But as we go deeper with this meditation, it becomes even more profound. So as I was saying at the beginning, what is it like to feel permeable in the sense of spreading compassion and kindness and seeing the world in a perfected state? So there's a quality of, first of all, moving without fear. And when you're moving without fear, it means you're not focused on your own situation. When we're afraid, we're thinking about, is this safe for me? Am I going to be hurt or harmed? When we're fearless, we're thinking about, look at all of these beings that I'm in relationship with. Can I spread my loving kindness to them? Can I see their situation and my situation? Can I be like Tara and see them in a loving way? So all those times when we're in going back to the office, going to school, going to the grocery store, when the epidemic first hit, you might have experienced fear. The masks were new, the situations became strange and dangerous. And you could feel, oh, I'm going to get in and get out. I'm just going to do what I need to do. As opposed to starting to see all the beings that I encounter are none other than Tara. All the sounds I'm hearing are Tara's mantra. And all phenomena are an extension of Tara's palace. So can I not only allow my boundaries to be permeable, but can I see each and every being not only as the same as myself, but with the same potential to become their own Buddha nature, just like me, also Tara, until gradually that sense of I am filling myself with green light and I am expanding that green light becomes more, I am sitting in bodhicitta, in a field, and I dissolve into the field, and as I dissolve into the field, so do all sentient beings until we are all just the field of loving kindness and compassion. And then it becomes very effortless. It's not me sending healing to someone else. It's abiding in a field without a sense of me doing something, without a sense of an other receiving something, just allowing my mind to dissolve into the field of Tara's loving kindness. And that's the evolution of this practice. The very strong I that needs to be protected becomes more and more permeable. Your capacity to hold vast numbers of beings increases and increases, and that boundary becomes more and more transparent, more and more permeable, until a boundary isn't necessary at all. So those are the stages of this just exquisite meditation. So I encourage you to practice. Always good to do refuge before, dedication after. We're doing this practice to benefit all sentient beings, and we're doing in the context of refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So I invite you to join with me in this just precious, gorgeous practice that has the profound built into it, and is like a window into the depth of our wise, loving, compassionate heart. So thank you and take care. And I hope this practice becomes as wonderful for you as it has for all of those who've been coming to our morning meditation. Really allow yourself to grow in a natural way that's comfortable for you, having Tara as your safety mask as long as it's necessary, allowing the boundaries to just dissolve as your heart expands. It's a very natural process. So bodhicitta, excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.